Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics and Random. Berto Will is your host. I'm very sorry for that initial gaffe that we had at the beginning of the show. Was trying to rush it all and get it all together. Anyway, guys, welcome aboard. ATL is checking in, El Senor Paul Fleming. And of course, we have our distinctive AVQ, Michael Rudnin. Welcome aboard. And with us is Nanette Bird Smith. Hello, Nanette. How are you doing? And of course, Yvette Avery Herad, ¿Cómo estás, mi amiga? ¿Cómo estás? ¿Cómo estás? Welcome aboard, everybody. Well, of course, there's Michael. He says, I'm watching from away with a friend today. Quick share and slow post. I love that you said that magical word, quick share. So I'm going to say another magical word. If you're listening on YouTube, click up that thumbs up, like button. If you're listening on Facebook, click that like button under the video. Helps our algorithm do what it needs to do. Sarah Bastgo, welcome aboard. I like the way you say that. Howdy. So I'm going to say it too, Sarah. Howdy. Sarah, I hope you already clicked that thumbs up on our good old YouTube page. If you haven't yet, click that thumbs up. Let's get busy. Anybody who's coming in on YouTube, please remember, the first thing I'd like to ask you to do is thumbs up. And if you have the wherewithal to do it, share, and ¿qué es la otra palabra? Share. Anyhow, let's get busy. I am watching from away, says Michael Rudnin. He also says, my Biden administration expresses horror over photos of border control migrants. Border Patrol agents threatens black man with a whip. Yeah, I'd be horrified too. I covered this a couple of days ago. And since you brought that up, Michael, I cut up the piece that I did and shortened it into something that is more palatable. And at first I wasn't going to play because I did it live, but I want to play this again and then we'll get into the program. Before I finish reading what you have to say, I want to stop right there and play it, assuming that I can find it, assuming that there it goes. I want to play this because this is important and I want all of us as Americans to see this, hear this. And again, I cut it up a bit, so check it out. Eric, how about the 15K humanity problem in Del Rio? How about it? I saw people on horses whipping those people that are coming over in desperation over the river. And I say to myself, I don't remember us treating all Cubans when they came across from Cuba into Miami. I don't remember seeing anybody on horses with whips or anything because we have that touch the land first policy with Cuba, right? But for Haiti, oh no! If y'all ever really knew the history of Haiti, Haiti is a basket case, not because Haiti deserved to be a basket case. Toussaint Louverture, the slaves in Haiti. Haiti became the first black nation in the Western Hemisphere, free nation. He beat the French out of Haiti. And you know what the Western world did? They went to Haiti and said, if you want to continue your existence so that all of us don't come and bomb you to smithereen now that you're a liberated country, you must pay us, in other words, France. You must pay France for all this property that we left here. And you know what the property was? Those black bodies that went for freedom. And Haiti had no choice. For decades and decades and decades, Haiti have had to use their resources to pay for their freedom from those who had enslaved them. You want to go any further? And America and all these other countries, they didn't want to help Haiti as a new country because they didn't want their slaves in their countries. Get any ideas? Here's Haiti, the first black country, the country that says, we want our liberation, and we formed a new country doing it. But no. So all the history you learn in school, Haiti's a basket case. Those people can't take care of themselves. They can't govern themselves. No, they can't govern themselves when you have your boot on their necks. I bet you didn't know that history. Look it up. Now, they are coming to Del Rio because they have a hurricane, earthquake, everything it was just a calamity. When there was a calamity in England, and when they didn't have their freedoms in England, the Pilgrims, or before the Pilgrims, Jamestown, they came to America. They came to America because they didn't have what they wanted in the lands where they were. They came to America and they came on the land. And they annihilated the native people on the land to form their own, the United States of America. These people coming over, they're not coming to conquer America. Those people who came to America, they conquered it. They committed genocide. They committed slavery. These people that are coming, they just want a life. When we learn in our souls what it is to be honorable, when we learn in our souls what it is to be moral, then we can talk. So Brother Eric, learn some morality, and never again, brother, do I want to hear you talk about what's occurring from Haiti up into America. The truth of the matter is Biden should be ashamed of sending those people back to Haiti, a place right now in utter despair. Biden should be ashamed of doing that right now. Those people that are fighting for getting a better life, they've been running from hurricanes, they've been running from all of this, that all these countries have gone into Haiti and screwed it. And yeah, they've used Haitians, just like they've used Candace Owen, just like they've used, who was the guy in California? They used them as a prop. But no, let's get our history correct, brothers and sisters. Eric Hayes, especially, Egberto preach, Eric Hayes. Wow, you're telling me to preach now. All right, let's see. Paul Fleming ATL checking in, brother. Welcome aboard. They want freedom in a capitalist society. No, they want to have, look, you ask these people what capitalism is, they don't have a clue. They came here to have a better life. I came here from Panama to have a better life. You can say, well, why didn't you stay in Panama if you came to a capitalist country? America owns the Western Hemisphere, people. America goes to every country and extract. I'm just coming to take back some. Understand what our capitalist system does around the world. And then you'll have more compassion, not for only Americans. I have compassion for everyone called human being. People always say, why do they hate America around the world? They don't hate America, the people. They hate the government that has been murderous to them. Who has complained with the rush of Canadians to the United States to take and then go back to their great healthcare system? Nobody says anything. Canadians come to the United States to profit because they can do all kinds of things, because we have cheap taxes and all of that they can live here. But they never give up their Canadian citizenship because they have universal health care. So they come here. They don't care that we don't have universal health care. They don't care that we don't have family leave. They don't care about any of those things. But the one thing they keep is their Canadian citizenship, because they can go home to their democratic socialist state and have their health care. They can go home. People don't get it. People say, oh, everybody come to America. Yeah, they do, because they can make a fast buck, not pay taxes, and then leave. You check it out. You have a lot of folks from China. They come, they get dual citizenship, and they go back and they form a semiconductor company or software company or whatever. Understand these concepts. It's only the peons, those of us, the 75 to 80% of people that don't understand all these concepts, they sit down and like, oh, we're there protecting those capitalists who are making deals to do things overseas and make money. Understand it, please. Read my book. I'm not trying to, I am trying to sell my book. Please get my book. It's worth it. How to Make America Utopia, as I see it, and I sell them as a package now. If you go to politicsandright.com/store, you can get it as a package now. If you get these 3 books, you understand the entire concept of what I talk about. The first one was, As I See It, Class Warfare, the only resort to right-wing doom. We are in a class warfare that nobody wants to acknowledge. Class warfare, this book explains how the economic system works in its entirety, from patent law and all of that, and how they use all of that to screw us in every domain, medicines and everything. How to talk to your right-wing relatives, friends, and neighbors. You know why I had that book? Because if we are going to make change, it's not going to be making change just because we progressives, we liberals know it all. It's not that. We have to be able to communicate with all of America, because we are all together getting screwed. And that's why I wrote, it's worth it, how to talk to your right-wing relative, friends, and neighbors, so that you can express things. You can talk to them. You can talk to them on the same level. And then, of course, how do we turn this country into a country that makes sense for all of us, not just 20% of us, but 100% of us? How to Make America Utopia. And this book is actually, I always call this still in the making, because I still need other ideas. I still need a lot of learning before we talk about all those particular issues. And by the way, if you want to get the book as a group, I sell them together at a discount. You can just get it there at politicsandright.com/store. But if you want to go ahead and get it, you can also get that at Amazon by just going to politicsandright.com/books, politicsandright.com/books. No, I'm live. I just had to play that part because of, and I looked it up live because you know who started this? our good friend Michael Rudnan. He said Biden administration expressed horror over photos on Haiti, and I wanted to kind of bring back Haiti some context because I played it. I did it to a smaller audience a couple of days ago, and I wanted to play it again because I thought that was an important piece to bring up about Haiti. Anyway, Pfizer says its COVID-19 vaccine is safe and effective in kids aged 5 to 11. As the new COVID variant spread, though, and harm younger people, vaccinating them before they catch it at school is essential. And that is so true. My wife, who drives school buses, we wanted to, she actually gives us the health insurance via the school stuff. You know how that goes. Anyhow, here's the interesting thing. A lot of people that are not taking the vaccine don't realize that if it's a grandparent taking care of a kid, if it's a mother and father taking care of kids, and because the kids are not in the age where they can be vaccinated, they are a clear and present danger to these kids as well. And that is actually manifesting itself at the hospitals now. I'm going to play a piece with a 24-year-old who seemed like he was going to be okay. And he ended up dead. He's sorry he didn't take the vaccine. His sorry came a little bit too late. And by the way, my dear Bridge MCP, I took your advice. The video is not being released until after the show, or during the show, I think it is. I think I set it on a timer or something like that. Anyhow, a warning sign of a mass extinction event is on the rise, says from Michael Rudnan. Scientists say there's 1 million species threatened with extinction, and it's humanity's fault. What I would truly worry about at night when its critical species die, the whole ecosystem will unravel, and then we are all screwed. Again, if you have a change in the food chain that is too fast, what Michael Rudnan is saying right there is so true. That change in the food chain can actually be very detrimental to the whole ecosystem altogether, and it's not only to people. The activist reality TV series sparks backlash, worst idea ever. Twitter and critics are slamming an upcoming CBS reality show that pits activists against each other for social media approval. The activist reality TV show Progressive Activism is anti-corporate. To beg corporations for funding would be deeply corrosive to the cause and other. Let me tell you about that show. A lot of people don't understand. That show has a big problem. But it actually shows a reality. All right? That show is wanted to show that all of us that are activists, we are there fighting and begging for dollars from these different endowments, etc., to do what we want to do. And here's the issue with getting money from endowments and all these things. All these endowments, the Carnegie Endowment and the Rockefeller and all of these things, they're great. It's great when they do good work. But we have to understand the limitations. If it's a corporations who get tax shelters from giving money into these endowments, and these endowments are responsible for giving out this money to the body of activists, which activists are they going to support? They're going to support the activists who do not present a risk to the current economic order. So therefore, the politics done rights of the world, the TYTs of the world, the Tom Hartmans of the world, they're not going to be funded by those folks. It's funny because Tom Hartman one time was on Russian TV. What is it called? RT. And when he went on RT, it was the end of the world because it's a Russian network that he's on now. And it is so, well, none of the other networks would take him. He needed a platform to put his message out before the online platform was as massive as it was now. And that is the issue. That is why we always come to you directly and say, hey, please support us because, the powers that be are not going. If I go to the Carnegie Foundation and say, hey, I would like you to support us. We need X amount of stuff for equipment, this, that, they're going to laugh. Are you crazy? You don't support unfettered capitalism. And guess who funds this endowment? So they have a program now on TV that shows all these activists running and trying to do the best so that they will be the ones getting the. Look, it doesn't work that way. The only way we are going to change America, if the entities like ourselves, the TYTs, the Daily Koses, the Common Dreams, the Politics Done Rights, and all these organizations get funded $1 at a time, $1.99 at a time, $4.99 at a time, $9.99 at a time. Because those people who fund the big projects, They cannot afford to change the economic order. Sarah Beath, howdy, welcome aboard. Thanks you for being here. Norman Reynolds, mi hermano, ¿cómo estás? Welcome aboard, my brother. Fleming is checking in again at YouTube. If you're on YouTube, folks, please click that thumbs up so that we can get into that algorithm. Hey, Maywood, welcome from Long Beach, California. Bridge MCP, how you doing, my dear friend? Courtney, the SLP, one of our great activists here in Houston, Texas. Keep up doing the good work with let's see, you're with a lot of groups, including the Houston Peace and Justice Center, among several others, and KPFT. Sarah Beathley, welcome aboard. Doug Evans. Let's see, E2247 says researchers say it will allow them to gain important new insights into how extremists operate online. That is a huge hack. Reveals embarrassing details of who's behind Proud Boys and other far-right website. Great, great, great. So it happened too. Bridge MCP say happy hump day, and it is hump day. Para ver qué más. Tom C, welcome aboard, Tom. No, Tom, I think I did that 2 days ago, right? The one with I did the one with Haiti 2 days ago. I processed it, put it up online, but I wanted to play it again because I want the Haiti message to be covered, because Haiti is getting such a backlash. The people out there, I mean, they're just treated like animals, and it hurts. Okay, let's see who else we have. Mike Cisak says, because progressives think they know how to run other people's lives. No, actually, the ones who think they know that are the conservatives, right? They want to tell a woman what to do with her body, right? It's not liberals saying, wait, you are not smart enough, ladies, to control your own body. So therefore, we men in Texas are going to tell, since we know it's unconstitutional to do it, what we're going to tell everybody on the streets, whether you're in Oklahoma or California or Europe, you can file a suit if you figure out that woman has had an abortion. You can sue that doctor who did it. It is pathetic. No, the people who tries to control our lives, it's amazing. What do you call it again? Not reflection. Come on, what's that word? Not reflection, but that word that means that you want to make it so. I can't remember the words right now. Anyhow, continuing with it, sir. You're wrong, Mike Cisak. Still love you, but you're wrong. Might help get more views if you tease them with a title. The title is what we had today. Filibuster now. Legal IRA Theft-by-Billionaire. 24-year-old. Hey, but guess what? My beautiful Bridge MCP. I don't only need to tease them. You guys can go out there and say, hey, Egberto starts at 3 o'clock. Here is the link to the YouTube channel or whatever. That'll help as well if you guys say, hey, throw the link out there. Anyhow, Rose Williams, welcome aboard. E2247. 5 Democrats sunk Medicare controlled drug prices, then 3 representatives who voted no in the committee, and 2 senators. It is a shame, and that commercial on TV doesn't help, where it's making older people believe that somehow the overprice that they're paying for insulin and all of that is the best that they can do. I did a piece on that advertising, and I hope more of you share it. We have to let older folks understand that they're being played. And as they understand that, we can make the change. Folks, if you're just joining us on YouTube, please click that thumbs up. If you're just joining us on Facebook, please click that like button under the video. That'll help us with the algorithm. All right, Squeedo, much better to get money from your audience. Exactly, because you're the ones watching, you're the ones sharing. You know, look, everything that we get is mostly from actually not everything. All that we get is from the audience. I'm trying to think. We once had one person that had a company that used to give, and that person stopped. But yeah, everything is from our people, you peeps, my peeps. All right, let's see what else we got here. Bridge MCP, agree, Maywood. Rose Williams says, finally, got my router died today. And what a pain to get new ones working. What happened to your router? You should hit me up offline. I do all of that kind of work. Michael Rodnin, Egberto, please clip your reply regarding the activist. Clip the reply regarding the activist. Okay, I'll clip that out and send it to you, brother. You know, Michael Rodnin loves to give me a lot of extra work to clip here and clip there. But, you know, like I tell you guys, it's your show. Squeedo, I wish I could help more, but I am SSD. Squeedo, let me tell you something, guys. We do this show for everybody, and we only ask those who have the ability, the wherewithal to help out, to help out. But this show belongs to everybody, absolutely everybody. Hey, come on, you know what my philosophy is, guys. You know what my philosophy is. Brother Tom C., I nominate Egberto to be and the activist would make the program worth watching. Oh, my brother, you see why I love you, man? Tom C., wonderful person. Hey, Tom, you know I'm going to be hitting you up to help me get some more people into the domain. Squido, para ver, para ver, para ver. For those who don't know Spanish, that says, let us see, let us see, let us see. Roberto Luis, mi hermano de Panamá. Saludos, Politics Done Right. How you doing, hermano? Para ver, Bridge MCP, never heard of the activist. I hadn't heard of it till I heard all the complaints on Twitter either, my dear. Brian Miner, welcome aboard. Why is the UK getting a break from France? There has always been a special relationship between the United States and the United Kingdom, and France has always been a thorn in the United States' side. Let me just give you a little backstory here that nobody talks about. They wanted to put a finger in France's eye. Don't believe anything about he's so sorry. They knew exactly what they were doing. When they had that last meeting a few months ago, I think China and Germany kind of screwed over the United States when it came to some stuff with China. All right? Because they have a strong relationship, especially Germany with China, and all he wanted to do, the president wanted to do, was to say, we can pull 1, 2 that's going to upset you just like you upset us with China. So there's a lot of backstory that's not coming out there because they don't want it to escalate out of control. Nanette Bird-Smith, projection. Man, I got geniuses watching the show. Thank you, Janet. That is the story. Projection, projection, projection. Michael Ronin says projection and transference. I like the projection. Transference, I had never used, but it's actually synonymous. You're absolutely right, sir. Border patrol on horseback running down Haitian refugees is no better than what the former guy was doing at the border. Exactly. And that we didn't raise hell about it. I did. I called out Biden, right? Sometimes conservatives are right when they say, oh, if Trump had done this, you would have called it out. Biden does it and you ignore it. We can't ignore it for none. I mean, we got to do it appropriately because Biden ain't no Trump. But when he does things like, or rather, when he's informed that things are being done Trump-like, he must react. And he must react appropriately. And I must say that it seems like they are reacting appropriately because they're no longer throwing them on planes solely to go back to Haiti. They're now sending them to Houston, here my town, Houston, and other places in Texas. And they're giving them 60-day notices to actually get hearings. So things are getting better. They're hearing because people started to raise hell. Not as loud as they did under Brother Trump, but they're raising hell. People think progressives are Marxists or socialists. Unbelievable. You know, it's what they want to do. They want to try to make whatever progressives are a bad word. And so that is something people fear. So what we have to do is lean in. Start telling people what we're going to do. Don't forget about the labels. Start telling people what we're going to do for them. And that's what I keep telling all these Democrats that are so scared of doing stuff. Say this bill, this $3.5 trillion bill does this for you. The $1.5 trillion bill that Trump took simply went to rich people. You have to learn how to say the talk. But the problem is, and I'm going to tell you the dirty little secret, and I'm going back to the chat in a minute. Here's a dirty little secret. The dirty little secret is there is a faction of the Democratic Party and a faction of the Republican Party, and that is the ones that are right there. They like to call themselves both moderate. There's not much difference between them. The only difference is the moderate Republican always votes for Republican methodologies, and the moderate Democrats are always a thorn in the side of Democrats because they give a hard time before they give Democrats their votes. So, but they all serve the same master, which is a corporatocracy. Remember, the corporatocracy gives money on the left and the right, meaning moderate Democrats, well, they are really conservative Democrats and Republicans. That's who they support. Let's remember that. So what we have to do is we have to get people action. The only time Democrats, the moderate Democrats, do as they're supposed to do, the only time the Democrats do as they're supposed to do is when. You're right, Dr. Theis. You're right that I owe you a call. And the reason you haven't gotten a call is that guy hasn't gotten back with me yet, but I'm going to pressure and issue a second email. I mean, you're absolutely right, though. You have to keep me on my toes. Anyhow, let's see. Bridge MCP says, people think progressives are social. Well, whatever. Squeedo, I hear you, Bridge, but we are going to mitigate that with the things that I just said. Squeedo says, my internet CenturyLink is crap. We used to have that out here. Now we're up to Suddenlink. And now there's a new one coming into town that is supposed to be very, very fast. Squido, Dido. Egberto, you reply about the activist was on point. It's worth resharing again. Again, Michael, I said you gave me work. I said I would, right? So you got it, brother. Norman says we need to keep in mind that our current paradigm is that we are represented by politicians who are selected by corporations and the 1%. We need to keep doing the work until we can overturn their influence. Before election, do the work. After election, do the work. All right. I think all of you would agree that Norman has the phrase of the day, not the sentence of the day. I'm giving Norman the phrase of the day because that is important, what he just said. In other words, Norman is saying we have to be doing the work consistently, continuously, all of the times. And by the way, Norman has written a piece that I haven't yet placed on the internet because it's a long piece that he wrote and I have to format it correctly for the blog. But when that comes out, I'll be sharing Norman Reynolds' blog piece. And if any one of you have some blogs that you want to get out there, some thoughts that you want to articulate, don't forget that egbertowillies.com, politicsdoneright.com, and all these platforms belong to whom again? You! But please support it. But it does belong to you. You can get your writings up there. I put your name up there, all that good stuff, your picture, if you want your picture, all that good stuff. Because roots is what we believe in. Grassroots is what's going to make the change. And a lot of people in the grassroots think they don't have the power. A lot of people think they don't have the power. And they don't think they have the power because they don't see themselves doing things. As people like Norman, who's an engineer that's probably at times don't think he has political power. Well, now he knows he has political power. Or Roberto Luis, mi hermano de Panama, who is an engineer out there working with the state. As different people, or Bridge MCP wrote a piece for egbertowillies.com as well, and several others in here in the chat written piece. And as people see those pieces written by our regular folks out here, they feel empowered that they can do it too. So you guys have to send me stuff and we'll get it out there, brothers and sisters. Bridge MCP, my brother. Okay, let's see. Mike Sisek says, well, progressives are deep down socialists to the point of authoritarian. No, you see, again, authoritarian is a fascist state, and it's what Donald Trump is doing right now. Projection. All right, let's continue. Bridge MCP says authoritarian, trending to tell people what to do in a preemptory and arrogant manner. Dictatorial. Nonsense, Mike. Exactly right. All right, no name person from YouTube. Why don't you put a name there so I can call you out? Please put a name. Give yourself some sort of a name, even if it's ABCD. Anyway, if you are just getting on to YouTube, please go ahead and click the thumbs up so that we can get our algorithm going. If you're just getting on YouTube, click that thumbs up button for me. Please, por favor, click the thumbs up button. All right, let's see. 40 days until Glasgow Climate Talks now, November 1 at UN Climate Conference, COP26. There are I forgot what COP stands for. Climate something. Implementation of Paris Agreement will be negotiated. What are Democrats doing to get ready? Nada. Well, Hoodwinked in the Hot House, third edition, is an easy-to-read, concise yet comprehensive compendium of false corporate promises that continue to hoodwink elected officials and the public. When you come with that, my dear no-name person on YouTube, please give a link like, our brother Mike Cisak, and not Mike Cisak, but Michael Rudnin always does. All right, Cisak, I'm going to leave that one alone. Rose says, Mike, you keep on complaining type of government rule with economic system. Rose, you may want to find that thing that you typed in before to do a little bit of enlightenment on what you said before. All right, let's continue here. The only time moderate Democrats do right by the people is when there's sufficient activist and social media pressure. Correcto mundo, Michael Rudnin. All right, let's see. Squido said, no, E2247 says, don't let transnationals get away with greenwashing their ecocidal business models. I'm going to have to start going to my other product in a little bit, but I want to get to all of you. All right, let's see. E2247 says climate policies and programs are masked inside a narrative that has a very violent planet impacts. False solutions are embedded in the root causes of climate change. Jessica, you are here. Jessica Taylor, I am unnecessarily late. Why are you late, Jessica? You've just hurt my feelings, Jessica. Love you, Jessica. Keep on coming. But don't forget, share and let people know. You got to come to the show, man. I talk to everybody. Hey, folks, if you're just getting on YouTube, click that thumbs up. Link up. Get us going with the algorithm. Click that like button, por favor, por favor. Ponga el like. And if you're on Facebook, click that like button on Facebook as well. If you're on Twitch, do the same thing. Anyhow, let's see what else we got here. We got Tom C. COP, Conference of the Parties. Okay. Michael Rudnin, UN Climate Change Conference of the Party. There you go. There you go. Squido. Oh, Jessica. All right. Here's the thing that I wanted to show you guys. I was going to show you the representative piece, but what I'm going to do instead is show you the piece on the 24-year-old. I really want you to see this, see what it's all about. There are those in the anti-vax community who just believe that, for the young people and for strong people, just go ahead and get COVID. It'll be getting the flu, and after you get the flu, you'll be naturally immune to it. I tell you what, let's play this story, and then I'm going to go into some realities about natural immunity, etc., etc. Check this out. We'll take it on the other side.
For any and all of your friends who get their news from the crazy side of Facebook, those who say it's experimental, that it's a government trap or a tracking device, those who say they're still doing their research, by the way, ask to see their home research laboratories. All those folks should see the following. This is 24-year-old Patrick Bershia, who was interviewed 3 weeks ago by NBC News correspondent Gabe Gutierrez while hospitalized with COVID in Billings, Montana. He admits he was a consumer of misinformation. He admits he was anti-vaccine before he got sick.
I was hearing a lot of propaganda, like the vaccine wasn't really effective, it wasn't real. There was just a whole bunch of crap that I was hearing from close friends and family members who didn't really trust it, and I wasn't really out trying to get proper information about it. But after experiencing what I've experienced, as soon as I can, I'm getting the vaccine. And I highly recommend anyone who has it to do it, because this is a very scary situation.
That was Patrick in the hospital there in Billings, Montana. That was 3 weeks ago. He's gone now. He died this weekend at the age of 24. Another vaccine skeptic who underwent an ICU conversion to vaccine proponent right before he lost his life.
Now, here's the deal. First of all, sad to see a 24-year-old with a young kid died. He died. At least on his deathbed, he thought he was getting better. At least on his deathbed, he tried to tell folks, don't do what I did. Go get the vaccine. A lot of people are out there saying, yeah, but most people don't die if they get it. But there are a lot of things they don't tell you. A lot of people, a large percentage, have this long haul where they remain sort of sick for an extended period of time or indefinitely. That's one thing of getting long COVID. Another issue is as their immune system prepares them for the next time. Many a times what the immune system chooses to kill in the particular variant is not the most common thing used, as is with a vaccine. The vaccine uses, the mRNA vaccines decided to target a spike that is general among several different variants, and as such, your immunity is good for several different variants. That's not necessarily the case for your immune system who simply fights off one particular variant. So there are a lot of issues with not taking a vaccine. And for those people who say, well, I'll just go ahead and look at what I saw on Facebook. I saw this worm dewormer that people use. I saw this type of hydrochloroquine and all these other things. They claim they don't believe the scientists, but they believe Facebook. They put themselves at risk on that domain. Look, this at this point isn't a mistrust of government. At this point, this is a mental problem, an ideological mental problem. And that we've reached the stage in this country that ideology supersedes our mind. Ideology supersedes the logic within our own mind, because a lot of these people are not stupid. At that point, we know we need a change. At that point, we know your ideology is toxic. Absolutely, ideology is toxic. For the newcomers who just came on please go ahead and click that thumbs up on YouTube. Please click the thumbs up on YouTube to help us with the algorithm. And for those that are listening on Facebook, please click on the like. Please click on the like on Facebook. Egberto doesn't believe in science. That is so, says Mike Cisak. Mike, I do believe in science, okay? Absolutely so. There are no reliable studies as of today that actually points out that ivermectin, okay, successfully solves the problems of COVID. And if you notice, all those people that's been dying claiming that they're on ivermectin, they're dead. And all these things that you're putting out there, back it up with studied data. Don't give me a little piece of crazy data from Facebook. And because somebody says on Facebook, oh, there are this amount of tests on Facebook, so it must be right. Folks, and I want, before I get into the filibuster, I want to ask you something. Why would the CDC, why would a new president not want you to have the products that are really, really going to solve the problem of COVID? It makes absolutely no sense. Even a corporation would not have enough power over a Biden to say, look, I don't want you looking at ivermectin. I don't want you looking at hydrochloroquine. I don't want you looking at all these things because we want to sell these vaccines. Do these companies want to sell vaccines and a bunch of them? Yes. Would they like the government to only use them and not use other products? Yes. That's what corporations do. But politicians want to win. Politicians want to win or either know that they have a hell of a job when they leave. Remember that. Thank you for reminding me, British MCP. Folks, if you are on YouTube right now, please go ahead. Firstly, please go ahead and give us a thumbs up. We need a thumbs up to help the algorithm. Número dos, please go ahead and click on join. Become a part of the PDR posse. So please click on join and become a part of our membership. If you are not on YouTube and don't have that join, or you don't have that join button, here is the link: politicsdoneright.com/YouTube. politicsdoneright.com/YouTube. You click on that, you can join as well. We had 3 people who joined yesterday, and I put them up. One I had to do at the end of the show. Please go to politicsdoneright.com/YouTube. Alternatively, you can help us at Patreon. I need several at Patreon as well. That is politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. Likewise, you can support us at politicsdoneright.com/PayPal. politicsdoneright.com/PayPal. You can get all our books at Amazon by going to politicsdoneright.com/books. politicsdoneright.com/books. And you can get, if you want to get our books, and here are what our books look like. If you want to get, look at me putting it on the wrong side. If you want to get one of our 3 books, or all 3, we have specials at politicsdoneright.com/store. politicsdoneright.com/store. If you get the book directly from me as opposed to getting it from Amazon, I'll include a bumper sticker that says Politics Done Right that you can put on your car to help us promote the program. So again, if you are on YouTube, click that join button and hey, you can become a part of the posse. Very inexpensive, and you know you're doing something to promote good information, to promote truth, to enlighten us, to make sure that we are not snowed by our politicians or the right wing or anybody else. Thank you for reminding me to doing this. Okay, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the filibuster. All right? I'm going to skip the Crockett thing right now. Let's go ahead and let me put this up here real quick. Let's go to the filibuster House bill, the Dundas style filibuster argument right there. I need to pull that up. Anti-vax, Texas State Representative Crockett. GOP renounces government. Okay, here's a story that got to me. Oh, buy our mug. Yes. Why did I forget to do the mug? Sorry about that. Let me go to the mug real quick. Hey, guys, support us by getting one of our mugs. And guess who designed the mug? The mug was designed by Bridge MCP, and that's what you're seeing on the screen right now. And how can you get the mugs? Let me give you a link to the mugs. You can go ahead and get the mugs right here at this link in there. That's where we get the mugs. Let me put mugs. So I forgot to put the mugs in there. There's the mugs. And there's how you get the mugs. And see all those great people that have already gotten the mugs and they're drinking their coffee as they're listening to Politics Done Right. And Squito says, I bought 2 mugs. I so love you, Squito. I so love you, Squito. Tell your friends to buy some mugs as well. And folks, if you're just joining us on YouTube, please click that thumbs up. Give us some more leverage here. And if you're on Facebook, click on that like button. All right, here we go. Let's talk about filibuster. And this is what I'd like all of you to do. Breach, Peggy, I don't think you need to feel sad, but please don't lose your empathy to know the loss of another life. It is the same as looking at the aftermath of gangland shooting. They are all mattered, even though we would not currently have them at dinner. Yeah, I mean, I have learned, thank you for saying that, Norman. I think it's important for us not to allow the right to take away our humanity. So thank you for saying that, Reynolds, Norman. It's important for us to not allow the inhumaneness of the right to somehow allow us to let us lose what it means to be progressive, to let us lose what it is to mean to really care about humanity, about people. Anyway, I was reading this piece. As the GOP renounces democratic governance, the rationale to keep the filibuster is evaporating. And he starts and he says, we already know Donald Trump tried to steal the elections. We have the tape of this call to Georgia. We have notes from them. Acting Deputy Attorney General Richard Donahue documenting Trump's attempt to have the Justice Department declare election corrupt and then leave the rest to us. We know all of that. Casey Gibbs, welcome to Politics Done Right. So we all know that. We all know that. So now we are at the point where we're talking about raising the cap on our bills, the cap on raising the debt cap, the debt ceiling. And we have a Republican Party who's racked up all the debt, right? They've racked up all the debt, and now they're saying, oh, but we're not supporting increasing the debt ceiling. And we have Democrats are crying and please, we need you to do it. We need you to do it. I'm not going to read the entire article, but what I want to read is at the end of the article what he says. At the end of the article, he says the following. It is time to take Republicans at their word and hold them accountable for their blatant efforts to undermine America's democracy and economy. The media must do it. Voters must do it. And Democrats now have the perfect opening to do the same by dispensing with the filibuster. They have to do it. Because it is clear Republicans do not care about the country. They care about getting their way. The people that are always acquiescing are progressives and Democrats. I'm glad to see Jayapal say it's over. We are not acquiescing any longer. We want to support Americans. Tell me in that $3.5 trillion bill, what is it that you don't want to give America? What is it that you don't want to give the people of America that's been suffering for decades and decades and decades? And how are we going to, after we went ahead and won the election in 2020 by 8 million votes for the presidency, a filibustered Congress we still won a heavily filibustered Congress, not filibustered, gerrymandered Congress. And we also won a undemocratic Senate majority, equality. And the reason why I say undemocratic is that North Dakota has the same 2 senators that California has, and California has orders of magnitude more than North Dakota. So therefore, progressives this was not a close election when it comes to the popular votes. It was not a close election. Americans voted for progressive values. Punto y final. Americans voted for progressive values. That we only have a 50-50 Senate is a 50-50 Senate simply says that we are not a true democracy. We have to remember that. The Senate should not be 50-50 based on the way the population has voted. And we should not only have a 3 or 4 vote plurality majority in Congress except for gerrymandering. And we should not have 26 Republican states Congresses based solely on gerrymandering. It's not a democracy. And therefore, we have one chance why we must get rid of the filibuster. And let's put all the reasons why. Numero uno, H.R. 1, the Voting Rights Bill. And what's his name? The other bill, H.R. 4. Why do we need these bills? We have to stop the gerrymandering that takes away democracy. We have to make sure that these different states in federal elections cannot take control away from the people. So we need H.R. 1, H.R. 4. We need them. We must have them. We will never have them with the filibuster. It's hard enough that we're going to have to convince. It's hard enough. We're going to have to convince Manchin and Sinema to do this. But there is no other way. No other way. Número dos, debt ceiling. The debt ceiling, as Rachel Maddow pointed out yesterday, it's an oxymoron. It's a silly thing. It was created to appease people who didn't want to participate in World War I. It's crap. I mean, we're going to spend what we have to spend, period. So therefore, putting a restriction on that somehow claim we're not going to pay the interest on our bills make no sense because it will never happen. That has to go, so it shouldn't even fall under a filibuster, but it does. That's número dos. Número tres, the Human Infrastructure Bill. Look, the reason why the filibuster, we look at Sinema and Manchin as 2 Democrats who don't want to get rid of the filibuster. I want to wake you guys up of one thing, why activists have to tell each of their senators, you must vote to kill the filibuster. Here's the deal. There are more than 2 Democrats who want the filibuster. The filibuster is the excuse that they can give, that Democrats can. The filibuster is more important to Democrats in the long run than to Republicans. Because Republicans just don't care, right? If they're in power, they'll do whatever they want. But if they're not in power, they use the filibuster to stop Democrats. But it's not only Republicans using the filibuster to stop Democrats. It's Democrats using the filibuster to stop Democrats. What do I mean by that? If you are a Democrat who gets a lot of money from the oil industry, if you're a Democrat who gets a lot of money from some particular industry that we want to buck, they can always say, we don't have the votes. We need 60 votes. So they can save face with the filibuster. So the filibuster for many Democrats is a safe face. It's a face-saving device. So because they know that their masters, I'm talking Democrats now, their masters don't want them to pass a bill, and they use that as an excuse. What we need is transparency and honesty, and getting rid of the filibuster will do just that. There is absolutely nothing constitutional about the filibuster. In fact, I would want to state that the filibuster is unconstitutional because it denies one's rights. I said buck the system, not the F word, my dear beautiful British MCP. I don't cuss. Hey, you just told the entire truth about the filibuster. Thank you very much, Yvette Avery Herod. So that is the whole ideal behind the filibuster. Don't think that, oh, it's the Republicans that are so terrible. They're the ones who are going to use the filibuster against the Democrats. The Democrats are the ones who actually want that filibuster. Activists have to do their job. Activists need to do their job. Yvette, absolutely so, Yvette. Absolutely so. We have to do our job. So our calling card today, everybody that's listening, and we are listening from all over the country, both the north, the south, the east, the west, and even the center of the country, because we even have Mike Cisak here from the center of the country, Kentucky. Hey, Mike Cisak, I want you to call your senator, what's his name, Mr. McConnell, and tell him to kill the filibuster, okay? Please do. So that's what we want to do. We need to kill the filibuster. We must kill the filibuster, we the people. We're at 3:55. I don't have time to play the other video, but let me jump into the last subject real quickly. I think I can tackle that rather quickly, and it goes like this. We have all kinds of instruments, right? There are 401ks and all of that. And the idea supposedly behind all... Alros, mi hermano de Panamá, ¿cómo estás? ¿Cómo estás, hermano? Háblame en español. Quiero que me escribes algo en español. Anyway, here is the deal. When it comes to these instruments, there are things like IRAs, 401ks, and SEPs, etc., etc., etc. All right? These devices were, since corporations were no longer given retirements, right? In other words, they were cutting away those retirement funds, and they were no longer given pensions and whatever. And the idea behind pensions, right? El negro se va. Recuerdo eso, hermano. Recuerdo eso cuando estábamos corriendo allá en Sabanitas. Anyway, so here's the deal, guys. Here's the deal. They created these instruments because the corporation was no longer going to give pensions. But you know, every time they give something to the middle class, they want to make sure that there are instruments within that can give further benefits to whom? The plutocracy. But here comes our progressive Democrats that say we're going to blow that crap up. The IRA, there's this stuff that they created called the Roth IRA, right? If you have a regular IRA, all the monies that you put in that IRA, if you take it out before you're 59 and a half years, and I've had to take out just about all of it, paying that 10% penalty. But if you do it under 59 and a half, you have to pay a 10% penalty. After 59 years and a half, you can take your money out of the IRA, a regular IRA, but you pay income on the amount of money you remove from the IRA. Well, they created a new instrument supposedly to help the middle class so that they could take that money out of that IRA tax-free. At 59 and a half years, you can take it out tax-free. You put it in, not tax-free, but you take it out tax-free, a Roth IRA. So they created this great instrument, the Roth IRA. And you know what the billionaires did and the way they wrote the law? The way the law was written is you can throw a lot of cheap stock. In other words, what you do is you can throw some shorts and all of that kind of stuff into that Roth IRA. And then that Roth IRA explodes in value. So let's say you put in $10,000 in a Roth IRA with the right kind of stock that you made all kind of deals to have it explode. Then by the time that Roth IRA blows up and that $10,000 turn into $1 billion, you can start extracting that money at age 59 tax-free. It's a scam. So what does the new bill say? No, we're not going to do that anymore. What's going to have to happen now is you are going to only get $20 million in that Roth IRA that you can keep as a balance. And every time, for those of you who have $5 billion in that Roth IRA, and the guy who owns PayPal, he has $5 billion in a Roth IRA, which means that $5 billion is tax-free. And that's what the bill is taking care of. Now we'll see if the Democrats try to remove it from the human infrastructure bill and starve the real people who work. That was a learning message for today, brothers and sisters. These are all the tricks. You know, a lot of people don't talk about this, right? Yeah, you can do it with insurance policies via loans, though. In other words, what a lot of people do is they go ahead and they give all their money to an insurance company, right? And that insurance company then gives them back money. But at that time, it is tax-free because, in effect, what you're doing is you're borrowing against your insurance. It's all this money manipulation are things that only help the super wealthy, and the average American citizen, they pay. And how do they pay? They pay because those people that should be paying taxes don't. And if they don't pay taxes, you get less service as you work for them. So all those folks, if you're just joining us on YouTube, please don't forget to click the join button and become a part of our posse. We do a lot of learning here. Click on the posse and click on join and become a part of our network. And by the way, if you are on here, click on that thumbs up so that we can get more likes on the video. And if you're on YouTube, on Facebook, click on the like. But anyhow, folks, so it's very much, there are a lot of these manipulations that occur. And they always talk about tax and spend and, we want to tax. Look, these people have been taking advantage of us. And most people don't understand these things because they're not going to go on TV and say these things. And most Americans then are oblivious to it because they have no reason to know it. When I was surprised, Paul Fleming came out and realized that the insurance trick that they do. Paul, you're a genius. They do it with insurance. They do it with the way they handle carried interest. They do it with a lot of different techniques. Folks, if you're just joining us, please click that thumbs up button. Get me some more, please. And if you're on Facebook, click on the like. We have a policy that mirrors the stock market but is annualized, and it can't lose money because it has a floor. Yep, they say it can't lose money, but here's what it can do. It can go bankrupt, and then you lose it all. So a lot of people say, oh, I have this particular insurance, and it can never die. That's not true. When we had AIG about to go under, a lot of people were sweating bullets because if AIG had gone under, all the backings, all the credit default swaps that were backing insurance companies, they would have gone bust. And those people who depended on that insurance would have all been left for naught. So, I mean, it's good the way the insurance company sells you. Oh, this cannot go under forever. You have this insurance. Not true. Even an insurance company can go bust. Okay, folks, please, I got to get out of here. Please click that join button. Please click that thumbs up on YouTube. I need that thumbs up on YouTube. And please support us. If you're not on YouTube, if you're on YouTube, click the join button. Become a part of our posse. If you're not on YouTube, you can still become it by saying politicsdoneright.com/YouTube. Politicsdoneright.com/YouTube. You can also support us at Patreon. Politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. Politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. You can also support us with PayPal, politicsdoneright.com/PayPal, politicsdoneright.com/PayPal. And then, of course, you can get all my books at politicsdoneright.com/books. I got to see what Mike said. Rose, more poor people paid taxes in the 50s and 60s than they do now. What's your point? The difference between what the CEO make now and back then was huge. No, we've continuously moved money to the top, folks. Okay, click that thumbs up on YouTube, please. Let's get to 30. I'm missing one more to get to 30. One more to get to 30. One more to get to 30. I got to get out of here. Folks, my name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you know how I end this, baby. I am what? Out. we spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead, number one, subscribe to our channel, and number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.